Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the morning tip-off with Imman. Hey, everybody, and as you guys can see, the title today is Russell Bestbrook. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Please let me know if you cannot. So anyways, good morning, everybody. Morning tip-off with Imman, brought to you by Basketball News. I hope you guys are checking out everything on the Basketball News Network. So many great pods out there. Dishes and Dimes dropped this morning. Another great pod. I haven't heard it yet, but I know it's Sidra and Noor, so I'm excited to hear it. For those of you guys who do not know, Dishes and Dimes is an all-women's pod with, I guess, a rotating cast of women. Check out Keeping It 94. Check out the Alex Kennedy pod. Check out the follow-through with Clips and Drew. Check out the Postcast. Check out the rematch with the Ton Thomas on the Basketball News Network. Good morning, everybody. All right. So, as you guys can see, the title of this is Russell Bestbrook because what was that game last night? It was insane. But at the same time, my stat of the weekend does not go to Russell Westbrook. It goes to Nikola Jokic, who had a phenomenal, is he in your running for MVP? Could you guys let me know? Because is he like your top two? And is he not two right now? Is it LeBron and him? Is it Embiid and him? Is it some combination of those two right now? Because 47 points, 12 boards, and 5 assists to break the streak of the hottest team in the league right now, the Utah Jazz, is insane. Nikola Jokic deserves all of his flowers right now. More people need to be talking about this Nuggets team because what they're doing right now, what he's doing right now is insane. 47 points, 12 boards, 5 assists. Let me just repeat that to you. To beat the Utah Jazz. And the Nuggets had a historic game. They were 15 for 17 from deep in the first half alone, which is the greatest first half shooting performance in NBA history. So that's kind of where the league is at right now. On go Bears head top. There you go. On go Bears head top. Which is, it's insane. And it's a lot of fun. But speaking of three-point streaks, I have to, as my news and notes, we're all over the place today. It's a Monday morning, you guys. I haven't had my coffee yet, so we're just going to jump from story to story. But also, Joe Ingles beating out John Stockton on the Utah Jazz all-time NBA three-point list is phenomenal. So congrats to Joe Ingles. It feels weird to say, but I guess that's just the way that the NBA has, because you still think of Joe Ingles is fairly new. And it's John Stockton is this forever player of the Utah Jazz, but that's just the way that the NBA has transitioned in recent years. So shout outs to Joe Ingles. That's a giant feat, a huge accomplishment, and the Jazz are rolling. The Nuggets are rolling. The Western Conference looks a lot of fun, but we're going to take it to the best conference, aka the East Conference, the Beast Conference. I'm saying that. I don't care. I don't have a co-host. I don't have anyone who can counteract when I say something that might not be true. So I'm going to stick to calling the Eastern Conference the Beastern Conference and the Best Conference and talk about the Russell Westbrook game. So we have Russ got hella lucky. Can we admit that? No, we can't. We're not doing that this morning. We're not admitting that Russ got lucky because his stat line was insane. You don't get lucky for an entire game. You don't get lucky for he was 2 assists away from a triple-double. He could have had a 40-point triple-double. But just talking about that game, so I'm going to be 100% honest with everybody here. I didn't watch the entirety of the game. Checked in here and there, but I was watching the Raptors. The Nets and the Raptors have to stop playing at the same time. I get it. You guys are both on the East Coast. I get it. Same start times, but I'm tired of it because it's really taken me out of watching some great Nets basketball. But I caught the tail end of that game, and what were the last 12 seconds? Okay, with 12 seconds to go, the Wizards are down. Bradley Beal pulls up in transition from deep, hits that three. Then Joe Harris goes to inbound it. Russ steals it, or gets to Russ. Then he hits his three. And then get this. The Nets go to inbound it on the other end, right? So after the who's the team? What are we talking about? The Wizards. After the Wizards reclaim the lead, the Nets go to inbound the ball, and Kyrie definitely turns it over. He is doing a shuffle, and they are just not calling it, which was driving me insane because I was like, what? But then TLC misses that point blank layup, and then Joe Harris tries to inbound it again, and Russ gets a steal. So it was just a series of not being able to inbound the ball properly from the Brooklyn Nets to end that game, which is a lot of fun. Oh, yes, Joe threw it straight at, okay, yes. And then Garrison Matthews got it to Russell Westbrook. That's exactly what happened. But here's the deal. That is very true. He threw it straight to Garrison. But here's the deal. Russ did steal it on that final one. And Russ' game was insane. It was his revenge game. I know that, there was no James Harden in it, but it was still a revenge game. You got KD and James Harden on a team. They can't team up without you, my guy. That's rude. So he got back at them with an insane performance. It's hard to not talk about Bradley Beal and what he is doing because he finished with 37, had like 22 in the fourth himself. Just an insane performance from both of those guys. They're a lot of fun in the strangest of ways because it's no defense, it's just vibes. And sometimes that's just a lot of fun. And it worked out for the Washington Wizards, probably the only win they're going to get for the next 4 weeks. But we celebrate the little milestones like this win. So congratulations to Russell Bestbrook in the best conference, because that's what we're calling it. On go Bears heads up. Nikola Jokic, just such a treat. Nikola Jokic is such a treat. Also, I can't really talk about the weekend games and talk about these 40-point performances without talking about what Dame Lillard did, because the finish of that Bulls Portland Trailblazers game should have led with this, but I'm so sorry. Russell Westbrook tops that. I'm just sorry. And he tops it because it's against the Nets and not against the Bulls. No offense to the Bulls, but I have to say, Dame Lillard, 44 points, buzzer beater 3 to beat the Chicago Bulls in a game where, honestly, when you're down 2 possessions, with 11 seconds to go, you have no business being in that. But not when you have Dame and it's Dame time. So, Beal and Dame, they were here for us, or Russ and Dame, I should say. Although that Beal 3 in transition was nasty. That was nice. All right, so now let's move into some of the NBA beefs. Can I say that? Because I have some beef with Aaron Gordon. Because if you have beef with Kyle Lowry, I have beef with you. That's just how life works. So I'm going to start writing a diss track and filming it. Actually, no, I'm just not corny. I'm not going to do the corny things that Aaron Gordon does, because Aaron Gordon's corny. And let's get to it. So for those of you guys who did not know, the Orlando Magic and Raptors game wasn't fun, so I can't expect most people to have watched it. But for those of you guys who do not know, Aaron Gordon got called for a flagrant 1 against Kyle Lowry in the second quarter of the Raptors Magic game. Now, this didn't start tonight. This is a beef that started back in the bubble when, in August, the Raptors and the Magic were playing each other. It was in the bubble, and Aaron Gordon goes up. He goes up for a dunk, because he's known to dunk. And Kyle's there underneath the basket and swats at him, and it's very dangerous to swipe at a player who's in the air, and it was a dangerous play. It got called for a flagrant 1, and Aaron Gordon did hurt his hamstring and was upset at Kyle Lowry for that. And there was an exchange of words where Aaron Gordon called Lowry out his name. And Lowry proceeded to give Aaron Gordon his room number to be like, catch me outside. I guess not catch me outside because it's his room number, so catch me inside. I don't know. But he gave him his room number, which doesn't make any sense because they weren't staying at the same hotels, and NBA players were not allowed to just go all willy-nilly in different hotels that they weren't staying at, but he did give him his room number, and there was an exchange of words there. And I guess Aaron Gordon sat stewing and simmering and brought it out however many months later, and decided to just basically check Kyle Lowry. And that was a flagrant one. Although I thought it was a flagrant 2. I thought he was going to get kicked out. Not because it was like excessive. Because like a flagrant 2 is excessive and unnecessary content versus a flagrant 1, which is just unnecessary contact. It wasn't a basketball play. He just did it because he was upset at something that happened however many months ago. So he decided to just check Lowry, and that was called the flagrant 1, although he did leave to the locker room initially, so there was, I think, a little bit of confusion. I wonder if he was confused and thought he had gotten kicked out of the game. Also, something else to note, it happened in the second quarter, so it was like Aaron Gordon was holding on to this. It's like he was sitting because, like, why didn't it happen initially? Like, why didn't it happen right away? Why are you waiting as long as you are? But he did, and that pissed Kyle Lowry off as well. So Aaron Gordon just checks Kyle, gets called for the flagrant 1. Lowry shoots his free throws, and I'm sure you guys can find the video all over Twitter as Lowry is trying to call for Terrence, which is really funny because he's like using his full name. He's like, Terrence Ross. And he says words that I'm not allowed to say on this morning show that has to do with how he's about to handle Aaron Gordon. He says he's about to F him up or something along those lines. So that was the weekend of NBA beefs with the Rapt on the East Coast. I guess the Pistons are also in the Eastern Conference. So the other NBA beef that we're talking about isn't a real beef. It wasn't some physical nonsense and I'm gonna F him up and what's your room number and yada yada yada, spanning months and months and months and 2 seasons. Technically, it wasn't that. This was something that was a lot more strange. Okay, so I'm taking you to Pistons Warriors. I'm sure everybody's seen it. The clips are really funny. Klay Thompson was on the broadcast, which is a lot of fun. I always recommend you listen to Klay. And so he was on the broadcast, and okay, so there was a little bit of an exchange of words. Rodney McGruder was taken up for his teammate Wayne Ellington, and there was a bit of an exchange of words between these guys, and it was closer to the end of the game, and the broadcast pointed it out and was wondering, what's got him? Like, what's up with him? And Klay Thompson basically said he's upset because he's not going to be in the league. And that was the Klay Thompson end of it, where he was making a joke about why Rodney McGruder was all worked up. And it was just like, oh yeah, he's upset because he's not going to be in the league. And I have to say, I hate that. Like, I don't like there's this idea that like the NBA is a brotherhood, and people get upset when Shaq says his comments about Donovan Mitchell. People get upset when other people do this. I don't understand coming at Rodney McGruder like that. Like, he's a 5-year NBA vet. He's fine. He's managed to find himself on teams. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary to be saying that on a broadcast. I don't like it. Here's the thing. When the Warriors are winning, they're kind of insufferable. And we're seeing bits and pieces of it. I kind of felt sorry for them at the start of the year when everyone was like crapping on them. But they're back to being a little insufferable. We also got comments from Draymond Green after the game where he was attacking Rodney McGruder for apparently not being a real tough guy. Because I guess he doesn't give people cheap shots and hit them in the groin or kick them in the groin or break someone's finger or any of the dirty stuff that we've seen Draymond do in his time playing basketball. But there was just like whole back and forth. It feels very unnecessary. I'm team #Magruder on this one. That's how I feel. The Warriors, like, Draymond, shut up. That's what I have to say to the Draymond situation. How does everybody else feel? Plotted for months just for that. So we're back to the Lowry beef. People do not care based off of this on the Rodney McGruder situation and just care about the Lowry stuff. I do think he plotted for months just for that. It was very much, it was unnecessary. They were getting back, the Magic were getting back in transition. Aaron Gordon was asking for the ball. Lowry was there to stop that, and he just checked him. It was completely unnecessary. There was no basketball element to it. It was very clear that he had just been sitting and stewing for months in his hotel until he can get back and face them. And that was it. That's all he gave him. And Lowry, did not seem happy by it. I'm not happy by it. Aaron Gordon, come see me. Aaron Gordon is childish. It was very childish. It was incredibly childish. I'm glad we're all on the same page. I love it that like nobody cares when I talk about the rest of the league. It's all Raptor stuff, which is what I love. So like forget the rest of the league. Russell Westbrook who? Let's just talk about Kyle Lowry. I'm gonna close it off by talking a little bit about the Toronto Raptors because they just finished winning a game. Everyone seems to want to talk about the Toronto Raptors, so why not continue with it? I just have to say, we've seen back-to-back 30-point games from Pascal Siakam. Our boy's back, y'all. Our boy's back. No, but in all honesty, I think things are looking up for the Toronto Raptors. I know I had this like sad pod on Friday where I was trying to like get everyone to feel better about this team, but I do think that there's reason to be optimistic about where this team is headed, their direction, and what they look like, and all of that just revolves around our guy, Pascal Siakam. So with that, I leave you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I've got some Bucks talk tomorrow, so please join me from that. And we'll probably get some Nets talk later on this week. So thanks, guys. Peace.